Today is Friday, November 14th, 2014. We missed Friday the 13th by one day.
Yes, we
Aren't
did.
we fortunate? Hello there, this is Wayne Goldsboro Television. I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kim Best. Thank you for joining us on this Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
That's right.
But it's Friday.
Friday.
Friday the 14th.
Friday. Happy Friday. I can't remember what day it is.
We're so happy we don't care what day it is.
And I meant Friday because I do love a Friday.
I know, I do too. I know. It's going to be nice. A nice day today. And if you're watching us in our 5:30 segment, it was a nice day today. Right?
That's exactly right. And we have a special event that'll be on today's show.
That's exactly
right.
right.
It's a surprise. You can see it a little bit later.
That's exactly right. All right. In fact, why don't we just go ahead and go right on to that right now. Okay. We'll be back.
Being here today. Like as I said, we had our doubts about how the weather was going to be, but so far it's good. It may change, and so we're going to move right along. At this time, I'd like to recognize my boss that I've been working with now for almost 2 years, a year and a half. He's the Assistant Secretary of the North Carolina Veterans Affairs, Mr. Hilario Patano.
I have the pleasure. I actually traded Jimmy. I saw the program that he had outlined and said, you know what, I'd rather introduce some of our special guests that have actually become friends of mine. And so we have a really beautiful panel of folks that are going to talk to you about this occasion today and why it's important. But it's not about them, and fundamentally it's not about you. It's about something a lot bigger that all of us believe in, that all of us or most of us at some point put our hand in the air and we swore and we were going to write a blank check up to and including our body, our life, to defend something that we believe in. Isn't that right? Well, this is the final resting place for men and women that have done the same. And the way that we take care of our fallen, our dead and buried, has more than just a memorial or a quaint significance. It has national security significance. Because the way future generations see how we take care of our fallen will inspire them to put a uniform on themselves, or not, or not. The duty that we have here is very somber, is very solemn, and I want to introduce you to Secretary of Administration Bill Dottridge. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my boss. He runs the agency that has put this on today, and he also runs some of the machinery of state government for Governor Pat McCrory. And when I was asked to come on board here with Veterans Affairs, he said to me, Hilario, we have had veterans that have come home for generations. We have Vietnam veterans who came home and they were not treated well or with respect. And we as a state are going to do something about that, and we're going to change the culture. But I want to tell you some of Mr. Dottridge's highlights. He's the current Secretary of Administration, and he has an extensive background in private sector as well as serving as an elected representative. I'm only going to give you some of his highlights because, frankly, between these men here on stage, we'd be here all day reading biographies. But here's what you need to know. He's the president of Dottridge Gas and Oil Company. It's a fuel oil company. His family began here in eastern North Carolina. He's a 3-term member of the North Carolina House, and he's got an impressive education and pro-business background, serving in various subcommittees in support of the university. And he's channeled that effort and that energy and making sure that you veterans have something out there, have a resource guide out there that speaks to what the community colleges and the university systems are doing for veterans, and where you can find out more about your benefits and how you can find out about services like cemeteries like this one. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce my boss, my mentor, Secretary Bill Dottridge.
Thank you, Hilario. It's wonderful to be here, and it's great to see such an extensive and varied group of people who have great interest in what we're doing today and know of the importance that we have. As Hilario mentioned, Governor McCrory is a little busy today doing something else. I am here representing him and, of course, the Department of Administration that I serve as the Secretary, and I'm proud to say that we're working to make North Carolina the state of choice for veterans. I'd like to thank Hilario, of course, who's our Director of the Division of Veterans Affairs. We've seen Eli, he's our Cemetery Program Manager, and we have a great group of commissioners that I also work with and been in a number of their meetings and see their dedication to what they want to do and how they want to change things and make it more obvious of what we're doing for veterans in the state of North Carolina. We've gone through all the key people that are here today, and I appreciate all of you being here. I've had the opportunity to work with some of the representatives and be there with them in the House. I've had the opportunity to be in Walter Jones's district, and then he moved the line on me, and now I'm not in his district anymore. I don't know if he did it on purpose or not. We'll never know. But he's been a great person for Eastern North Carolina over the years. There's also a representative from Senator Burr's office here today. So we have the House and the Senate represented, as well as the North Carolina House people here. They're here today. When this thing started, it was a number of years ago, and the Wayne County people and the commissioners have worked just tirelessly for a number of years trying to get this started and restarted as it slowed down and sped up in the process. And they've played a major roles in doing this, and the amount of time and effort they've put into it and how well they've stuck to it. Mayor, I understand you've been with it for a number of years also, and it's been quite an accomplishment of what you've done. So today we have the opportunity of honoring and recognizing those that have made sacrifices for our state and country. And once again, we're expressing our gratitude by remaining hard at work, advocating on their behalf and for the benefits that they have earned. Providing a final, honorable resting place for our veterans is an important part of expressing our appreciation for them. After today, there will be 4 veteran cemeteries managed by the North Carolina Division of Veterans Affairs. The 3 that we currently have are the Western Carolina State Veterans Cemetery in Black Mountain, the Coastal Carolina State Veterans Cemetery in Jacksonville, and the Sand Hill State Veterans Cemetery in Spring Lake. And very soon we'll have this Eastern North Carolina Veterans Cemetery right here in Wayne County. Once again, all the efforts that went together to working with the federal government, and sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't, but eventually it worked out well, and there was a $5.4 million grant from the United States Department of Veteran Affairs that was acquired by Wayne County Commission, and the Eastern Carolina Veterans Cemetery will provide access to 76 acres consisting of approximately 8,000 burial sites for veterans and their dependents. Many of these sites have a pre-placed grave liner that will save thousands of dollars in burial costs. This is a new feature for North Carolina cemeteries and will be a great benefit for veterans and their families. Again, it's a true honor for me personally to be here and be recognized as some of the men and women that have done so much for our state, our nation, and for here in Wayne County. Thank you so much for being here, and there's so much that they have sacrificed on our behalf, and for us ensuring that they receive their benefits that they deserve is a key part of what we do. Together we're making North Carolina, once again, the state of choice for veterans. Thank you all for being here and for the encouragement and efforts that you've given toward this final event.
I clap so hard the microphones want to quit on us. Our next speaker is a Vietnam veteran like many of you. Commissioner Tony Braswell is Vice Chair of the Johnston County Commission. He is also the Chairman of the Veterans Affairs Commission, which oversees the operations of our state nursing homes and our state cemeteries and the other functions of this state agency that advocates for all of you. You know, North Carolina is home to the 3rd largest active military presence in America. Everyone knows that we're military friendly. But under this governor, under Secretary Daughtridge, under Commissioner Braswell, we're trying to become more veteran friendly. Because there's a difference, isn't there? Well, nobody knows that better than Tony Braswell, who not only is a businessman, but he's also a leader in his community in Johnston County, multi-term county commissioner. Invited me to a veterans event in Johnston County. I got to see pictures of all these Vietnam veterans when they were young men in uniform, and then here they are today. Tony, your picture's a lot better when you were younger. Come on up here. Commissioner Tony Braswell. You didn't know this would be a roast.
Thank you, Mr. Assistant Secretary. You never cease to not amaze me when you, I apologize for being a little hoarse. I sort of under the weather a couple of weeks ago, so I haven't really got my voice back. Some of them My constituents in my county say that's a good thing, but hopefully I can say this. First of all, what I want to say is I want to say thanks to our commission members that are here today. We appreciate your support and for this tremendous opportunity that we're going to have today. I want to thank all those who made this possible. It was a joint effort from an awful lot of folks. We appreciate everyone sticking with it, and it's going to be a great asset for Eastern North Carolina. It's going to be a final resting place for those veterans and families here in Eastern North Carolina. And I am so excited and so happy for those families and for those individuals. It is our charge to maintain and oversee the state veterans cemeteries, and I promise you that we will continue to oversee and have a final resting place here as in the other 3 state cemeteries. And again, thanks to all who made it work. Thanks to everyone, and congratulations for finally being here. Thank you. Have a great day.
I'm going to surprise Commissioner Braswell again by being brief. Our next speaker is the chairman of the Wayne County Commission, Mr. Wayne Aycock. You've already heard how the county, the city, and the state have been working together to make this possible. Mr. Commissioner, thank you.
Great turnout. Thanks everyone for coming. It's an honor to be part of the Eastern Carolina Veterans Cemetery groundbreaking ceremonies today. A veteran cemetery is not merely a resting place for veterans, it's a shrine that provides a place of perpetual remembrance for those who served our country. Presently, over 250,000 veterans live within 2 hours or within 100 miles of this community. This cemetery will provide a location for services, events, honoring veterans, men and women currently serving in the military as well. Let me share a brief history of the events leading to this ceremony. It was in 2004 Wayne County began research on establishing a state veterans cemetery. I want you to give special credit and thanks to former County Commissioner Andy Anderson. He put so much time and hard work into it. In 2005, Wayne County visited other cemeteries across the state cemeteries, to kind of get an idea on what they could expect. In 2011, Wayne County secured an option on approximately 37 acres and purchased 26 acres for the project, and an additional 25 acres if needed. Wayne County notified officials at the North Carolina Division of Veteran Affairs of the interest in purchase of the acreage. The county was informed the cemetery project met the initial requirements for funding consideration for the state cemetery grant program. Also in 2011, the county was notified the application was denied for state fiscal year 2012 and was asked to submit a new application. The Eastern Carolina Cemetery was placed on the 2013 list of projects for consideration of federal funding. In 2013, Wayne County was informed legislature has included the budget bill to fund the state portion of matching funds for the state cemetery project. This meant Wayne County would be considered but not offered any guarantees. On October the 1st, 2013, Wayne County was notified that the Veterans Administration of Eastern Carolina Veterans Cemetery was awarded a grant in the amount of $5,336,149 for 100% allowable charges established for the state cemetery. I wanted you to know just a little of the history behind what the community has done to try to acquire this great cemetery. And I'm honored to be a part of this presentation. A while ago when we asked for all the veterans to raise their hands, I could not raise my hand. I did not serve in the military. I was injured in high school and couldn't pass the physical. But all of the men and women that have sacrificed so much in the past, gave all of us the right this past Tuesday to go to the polls and vote for who we wanted to, for what party we wanted to. They are the reason that we have the freedom today. And the military history in my family, my dad was a World War II veteran. My father-in-law was a World War II veteran, got wounded in France. My new wife's dad flew 50 missions over Europe during World War II. I had a brother-in-law that was in Vietnam, and God only knows what he went through. But again, I just want to thank all of y'all for being here today and the hard work that has been put into this cemetery. Thank y'all.
Our keynote speaker this afternoon needs no introduction, but I just want to tell you a little bit about Congressman Walter Jones. You know, in a couple of minutes, we're going to be laughing and smiling when we turn shovels in the dirt here. But that'll probably be the last time that people laugh and smile turning shovels at this cemetery. Isn't that right? There's one member of Congress that I know for a fact has felt real pain with the loss of every service member that this country has borne through these long wars and through these long years. When I go to see Congressman Walter Jones in his office and I walk by the faces of the fallen from North Carolina, I know what his heart is pained. I've seen him advocate for Marines and soldiers and corpsmen. I was one of the Marines that he advocated for. I know where his heart is. I know how committed he is to veterans in this state and in this country, and how much he loves America. I can tell you from my own personal experiences as a veteran of 2 wars and a contractor in a 3rd, that nobody loves their veterans or this country more than Congressman Walter Jones. Congressman Jones.
Lario, thank you very much for sharing your heart, because you know my heart. Thank you very much. I am honored to be here today. I used to have the privilege in the U.S. House of Representatives to represent Wayne County. That's been taken away by the General Assembly, and they've had to redraw the I'm smiling when I say that with these representatives here. They have a tough job when they have to redraw the district, state or federal. But anyway, I go back to what Chairman Aycock was saying, because in 2004 is when Andy Anderson called me as his congressman to talk about the idea of trying to buy property to make a national cemetery for the veterans of Eastern North Carolina, and ask what could we do to help this become a reality. And we worked with Andy and others who dreamed that there would be a cemetery here for our veterans, and we continued to find roadblocks in Washington, D.C. From the standpoint of not that the national group did not want to see the possibility of investing for our veterans here in Eastern North Carolina, but because of money situations and other situations. So recently, as they began to move forward under the local leadership, they reached out to the state, and I want to thank the state representatives who are here today. I want to thank Senator Lewis Pate, who was also instrumental in finding the money to plant the seed for this cemetery. I, quite frankly, am happier that the state has made this investment instead of the federal government, because of my deep concern about our financial problems facing us in Washington, D.C. And I would hate to think that there is a veteran buried in a cemetery dedicated for the veteran, and it's not respected and kept in top form. For me personally, like Chairman Aycock, I did not serve in the military, but I found out something after my father, Congressman Walter Jones, died. The only thing he ever told me was that he didn't know his father, that his father had been gassed in the Battle of Oregon Forest, and he came home and he was never the same person. Why my father didn't do this, I don't know, but I ordered my grandfather's records. And the records came in, and they're at least a foot deep. Back then, they didn't have computers, and they didn't have mimeograph. You just wrote it down on paper, and I got everything from Washington, D.C. to Winston-Salem. And what I found out was that war changes people. Even though you might come back physically whole, you're not always mentally whole. Or you might come back severely wounded with PTSD and TBI and all these other pains of war. So what I found out about my grandfather was that at the age of 36, in 1924, he committed suicide. I have the death certificate, and the doctor said suicide. I even have the charge to prepare my grandfather's body from Brees Funeral Home in Fayetteville, North Carolina, to press the suit, to prepare the hose, just as awakening for me. And ever since that time, I've made a decision. Never again will I send a young man or woman to fight a war unless we follow the Constitution and declare war. I found out why my father grew up without, because his mother never remarried. They had to fight for my grandfather's benefits, because even though he was gassed at the Battle of the Oregon Forest and sent to the field hospital, somewhere along the way the records were not accurately kept, and I can understand that, as you can, because you've been to war. But back then it was a lot more difficult than technology today. So after my grandfather committed suicide, a law firm in Fayetteville, North Carolina, pro bono, no charge, took the case for my grandmother. And I have the letter that the law firm wrote to say that this woman and her son are destitute. Hilario, thank you. That's why I feel so passionately about our veterans, and why I worry so much about our nation who cannot pay its bills unless we borrow money from China and Japan. If we ever cheat a veteran of his or her benefits, then we would cheat God. And God would frown upon America for not taking care of our veterans. That's why today is so important. Because when God calls the end of a veteran on earth to come to heaven, that there will be this beautiful cemetery provided by the state of North Carolina. And families will come here and sit on the benches and maybe tell a grandson about their grandfather or grandmother what they had done for this country. It is important. It is important. When I found my grandfather's grave in Fayetteville, there was nothing on his headstone that said a World War I veteran, nothing. There was just a metal stake by his grave that said American Legion, which meant something. But I bought an addition to the headstone to say World War I veteran, Purple Heart. Because the veteran needs to always be remembered, living or dead, for what you have done for this country. In the eyes of God, you will never be forgotten. I ask God to please not let the living forget the veteran under any circumstances, alive or deceased. I again want to thank the state of North Carolina, Secretary Daltrey, Hilario Pantano, your staffs. Jimmy Woodard and I go way back. And I want to close this way. I do this on the House floor. I have signed 11,000 letters for families and extended families because we had no more business going into Iraq We were misled by the previous administration. That's why I said never again will I vote to send a young man or woman to die unless we follow the Constitution. I ask God to please bless our men and women in uniform. I ask God to please bless the families of our men and women in uniform. I ask God in His loving arms to hold the families who've given a child dying for freedom in Iraq and Afghanistan and all of our wars. And I ask God to please bless the House and Senate in Washington, D.C., that we will do what is right for our nation, but that we will always do what is right for our veterans who have served this nation. And I will ask God to please bless President Obama that he will do what is right in the eyes of God for God's people today and God's people tomorrow. And I will close by asking 3 times, God please, God please, God please continue to bless America. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And we are back on Wayne Goldsboro Television.
Exactly right. Anybody's birthdays today, Wayne?
Prince Charles.
Really?
Bonnie Prince Charles having a birthday today.
How old?
He's 66.
66. Happy birthday,
Yes,
Prince Charles.
he is he's a month younger than I.
Okay.
Anyway, a birthday today also for Robert Ginty. Now, if you don't know the name, you'd know him if you saw him. Robert Ginty's also 66. He was an actor in The Paper Chase, Hawaiian Heat, Falcon Crest, Baa Black Sheep. I remember him very well in that show.
Okay.
Lady Dragon, Harley Davidson, and The Marlboro Man, and a bunch of other stuff as well. He passed away some years ago, but he was a very talented actor. Yanni, having a birthday. Yanni is 60 today. And Patrick Warburton.
Do I know that name?
Yes, you do. You know him from Rules of Engagement.
Okay, yeah.
You know him for public service announcements for the Smokey Bear public service announcement. You know him for Seinfeld, Dave's World. Tall, dark-headed, great voice. Everybody Loves Raymond. He was on that for a while.
Okay.
Great voice.
Well, happy birthday if it's your special day.
He is 50 today.
And we'll give an extra shout out to Prince Charles once again. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
That's exactly
All right. So, we're going to wrap it up.
Yes, we are. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. There's lots to do here in the community, so get out and about and enjoy some of the opportunities.
Yes, indeed. We'll be back in here Monday, same time, so stay right there, but get up and do things between now and then. Until Monday, this is Wayne Goldsboro Television. I'm Wayne Alley.
And I'm Kim Best, and this is what's happening in your community.